Imagine it. One moment the world is a symphony of human activity. Cars hum on endless highways, phones buzz in billions of pockets, and the constant chatter of 7 billion people fills the air. Then, in the next moment, silence. Not a complete silence, but a human silence. A sudden, shocking quiet that settles over every city, every town, and every home on the planet. What would happen on this first strange day? The world wouldn't immediately fall apart. Instead, it would begin a slow, quiet process of shutting down. A machine grinding to a halt without its operators. The lights would stay on for now, powered by automated grids that haven't yet noticed our absence. The immediate changes would be subtle, heard more than seen. Without us, the background noise we take for granted would vanish. The rumble of subways deep beneath the streets of New York, London, and Tokyo would cease. The drone of airplanes crisscrossing the sky would fade, leaving only the sound of the wind. A fascinating fact is that within hours, many power plants would begin to fail. Coal and natural gas plants, starved of their constant fuel supply, would shut down, one by one. This would plunge vast regions into darkness as night falls. Only hydroelectric dams and some nuclear plants designed for longer autonomous operation would continue to hum in the dark, lonely sentinels of a forgotten age. In our cities, the first day would be an eerie spectacle of order without purpose. Traffic lights would continue their lonely cycle, changing from red to green for empty streets. Automated announcements would echo through deserted airport terminals, calling passengers who will never arrive. Pets, our closest companions, would be the first to truly feel our absence. Dogs would bark behind closed doors, confused and waiting. Cats, more independent, might already be venturing out, their instincts slowly awakening. The world would feel like a stage set for a play where all the actors have mysteriously vanished just before the curtain rose. The sounds of this new world would be strange and unfamiliar. In a city square you might hear the gentle cooing of a pigeon, a sound once drowned out by traffic and conversation, now echoing with surprising clarity. The soft rustle of a plastic bag caught by the wind would sound like a gunshot in the profound quiet. Technology for this brief moment would carry on our legacy. Automated systems would send emails that no one will read and update social media feeds that no one will see. It is a world paused, holding its breath, waiting for the next chapter to begin, a chapter where nature, not humanity, is the protagonist. The great shutdown has started and the planet is on the verge of a transformation it hasn't seen in millennia. After 7 days without us, the world would begin to show the first real signs of change. The initial eerie quiet would give way to the sounds of systems breaking down and nature tentatively stepping forward. The silence in the cities would now be punctuated by the constant, desperate barking of trapped dogs. A grim but inevitable fact is that millions of pets would face a struggle for survival. Many would perish, but the resourceful or lucky ones would escape their homes, forming feral packs that would start to reclaim urban territories. The world's livestock, billions of cows, chickens, and pigs, would also face a grim fate, trapped in automated farms that are now failing. The absence of human maintenance would become dramatically clear underground. Without the constant operation of pumps, subway systems in cities like New York and London would begin to flood. These vast underground networks, which require pumping out millions of gallons of water daily, would transform into dark subterranean rivers within the first week. Above ground, the illusion of order would crumble. Without street sweepers and sanitation workers, garbage would pile up, attracting rats, raccoons, and cockroaches in unprecedented numbers. These creatures, long our shadow companions, would thrive in the chaos, their populations exploding in a world suddenly free of pest control. Nature would make its first bold moves. Weeds, the pioneers of the plant world, would start to sprout in the cracks of every sidewalk, driveway, and road. Dandelions and clover would push through the concrete, adding tiny specks of green and yellow to the gray urban landscape. In suburban gardens, carefully manicured lawns would already look unkempt, and invasive species would begin their relentless march. Animals, sensing the absence of the planet's apex predator, would grow bolder. Deer might be seen wandering down a deserted main street at dawn, and coyotes would explore suburban backyards with newfound confidence. Technology's ghost would still linger, but it would be fading fast. The global power grid would be a patchwork of darkness, with only a few areas still lit by hydroelectric or geothermal power. The internet would be largely gone, its servers silent without cooling or electricity. Nuclear power plants would enter a critical phase. Without human intervention to cool their reactors, many would automatically shut down safely. However, it's a chilling fact that some older designs might fail, potentially leading to meltdowns and releasing radioactive material into the environment, creating exclusion zones far more permanent than any we have ever known. The first week ends not with a bang, but with the quiet, relentless process of decay and rebirth. 1 year after our departure, the planet would look noticeably wilder. The transformation would be undeniable, a testament to the speed at which nature can reclaim its territory when given the chance. The world would be a much greener place. Grass would grow tall in city parks and suburban lawns, swallowing sidewalks and driveways. More robust plants like saplings would take root in the soil that has accumulated on roads and in gutters. A fascinating fact from this stage is that the sheer weight of this new vegetation, combined with the freeze-thaw cycles of a single winter, would cause significant damage. Roads would crack and buckle, creating the first deep fissures in our asphalt empire. Cities would begin to look like green ruins. Moss and ivy would blanket the walls of skyscrapers, softening their sharp edges. Without heating in winter, pipes and buildings would have burst, causing massive water damage. This moisture would accelerate decay, creating a perfect environment for mold and fungi to thrive inside our former homes and offices. The windows of tall buildings, battered by storms and unstressed by temperature changes, would start to shatter and fall, showering the streets below with glass. The sounds of the city would now be the creaking of steel, the whistling of wind through empty corridors, and the constant dripping of water. Animal populations would have shifted dramatically. The feral dog packs from the first week would now be established hunters, competing with native predators. Bird populations would flourish without glass-fronted buildings and city lights to confuse them. Migratory birds would find their paths clearer than they have been for a century. In the oceans, marine life would begin to recover from overfishing. It's estimated that within a single year, the populations of some smaller fish species could rebound significantly. Larger marine mammals, like whales, would enjoy a quieter ocean, free from the constant noise of ship engines that disrupts their communication and navigation. Our technological legacy would be in ruins. The few remaining hydroelectric dams still generating power would likely have been silenced by debris or mechanical failure. The world would be completely dark at night save for the moon, the stars, and the occasional wildfire sparked by lightning. Satellites, our eyes in the sky, would have begun their slow descent, their orbits decaying without periodic boosts. Most would burn up harmlessly in the atmosphere, silent shooting stars in a sky watched only by animals. The first year without us is a powerful lesson in humility, showing that our grand, solid world is far more fragile than we ever imagined. After 100 years, the world would be almost unrecognizable. The planet would have undergone a profound healing, a wild transformation that erases much of our footprint. Cities would no longer be concrete jungles, but actual jungles. Forests would have swallowed suburbs and invaded the hearts of downtown cores. The roots of large trees, like oaks and maples, would have shattered remaining pavement and foundations, turning streets into forested valleys. Rivers, freed from their concrete channels, would have reclaimed their natural floodplains, carving new paths through what were once bustling urban centers. The Eiffel Tower, rusted and weakened, might still stand, but it would be draped in vines, a metal skeleton in a green wilderness. The structures we built to last would be in their final stages of decay. Wooden houses would be gone, decomposed back into the soil. Steel bridges, their support cables rusted through, would have collapsed into the rivers they once spanned. A fascinating fact is that our most enduring legacy might be our plastics and stainless steel objects, which would still be recognizable, scattered artifacts of a lost civilization. The great dams that held back mighty rivers would have failed, releasing epic floods that would reshape landscapes downstream. The world would be a mosaic of ruins and regrowth, a place of both incredible beauty and profound loss. Wildlife would rule this new earth. Large predators, bears, wolves, and big cats, would roam freely through the forested ruins of our cities. Their populations, no longer constrained by habitat loss or human conflict, would have rebounded to levels not seen for thousands of years. Entirely new ecosystems would have emerged. For instance, the flooded subway tunnels from a century ago might now be home to unique cave-dwelling species of fish and amphibians. The descendants of escaped zoo animals could also establish breeding populations in unexpected places, creating a strange and novel global ecosystem. The silence of the first day would be replaced by a rich symphony of animal calls. What would a visitor see after a century of our absence? They would see a world that has not forgotten us entirely, but has moved on. They would find the skeletal remains of our cities intertwined with vibrant, thriving nature. They would hear the howl of a wolf echoing between crumbling skyscrapers and see herds of wild horses grazing on the plains that were once our farmlands. The air would be cleaner, the water purer, and the planet's biodiversity would be on a path to recovery. Our 100-year absence serves as a powerful, slightly mysterious thought experiment. It reminds us that while we have the power to dominate the Earth, the planet's own power of renewal is patient, relentless, and ultimately absolute.